So a couple of days ago, I had a coaching call with a student of mine, and usually the coaching calls obviously are more to do with their business, what they want to know about their online business, how they can get over hurdles, what are some of the business implementation stuff we want to do. But on this occasion, there'd been a bit of a time lag between his last one and which was sometime in March and now. And he wanted to jump on a couple that he had left. And I was like, yeah, all good, no worries. So we jumped on, and I didn't really anticipate that he had more generic just sort of questions for me and was more curious about some things. And it kind of caught me off guard a little bit because I was like, don't typically like talking about myself that much. It kind of makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But what I did was, instead of framing it in the sense that I was like, okay, rather than think about it just talking about myself, he's actually interested to know answers that might actually be helpful for his own journey. And I thought to myself, if a younger version of me could see me now and could see where I'm at in my business journey, which is, I was a broke, young kid who just wanted the world. He wanted the money. He wanted, everyone to kind of look up to him. He was just the typical young male who kind of wanted bigger things for himself. That's just how I was wired. I thought to myself, if 22-year-old me could see me now, could see 33-year-old Ben, who's got a 50K per month online business, who has a lifestyle that he loves, who has clients that he loves, who wakes up every day, who gets to do things that he could only have dreamed of, then maybe my answers can be tailored in a way that is actually going to be helpful for him, but also my student at the time who was asking the questions. So this video is kind of for the younger version of me who didn't really anticipate to be answering these kinds of questions, but who is. And I'll stop rambling in a second, I promise. But young Ben, this is one's for you. I hope that these answers that I gave him, my student at the time, I'll just leave nameless, is helpful for you, mate. And anyone else out there who is an inspiring business owner, I hope you get some value from it too. So here's the video.
I've got a couple questions for you. They're kind of
Go for it.
just questions. As I said, nothing advice related.
Mm-hmm.
What factors would you say contribute the most to your success? I'm asking the big questions here.
Yeah, you are asking the paradigm shifting ones.
And this could help you as well. You never know.
Yeah, well, true, of course.
And I can tell you I think I could be wrong here, but I can tell you kind of don't like talking about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, not really, not
tell.
massively. I mean, I do if it helps someone else, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been on the receiving end of people who talk about themselves a lot, and I know how it feels and sounds. So
Yeah.
I tend to not. I know I try to answer in a way that I think might be helpful for you, because I know when I was coming, when I was starting in business and all the rest of it, and I was trying to work stuff out myself, then people that were ahead of me, who I assumed were ahead of me, in say a business sense or a monetary sense, I would get value from speaking to them. So because the way they think, or the way they carry themselves or their beliefs, would help me in reinstating a belief of my own. So I try not to frame it as like talking about myself. I try and frame it as like, how can this be how can my experience be helpful for someone? But I suppose the thing that I would attribute the most to my success, and I say success loosely, but I would say that it's just tenacity. It's just never losing sight of what I wanted out of life, and not letting, regardless of how much it derailed me, getting back on track, not letting beliefs of other people become my own life. And I mean, it's the age-old thing of entrepreneurship, where it's kind of like, owning a business or whatever, where like it's like, don't listen to everyone else and choose your own path, and all that sort of stuff. But I suppose the most of the truth in that is, for me anyway, is I'm more accepting for how other people want to live now. And it's a lot easier to accept how other people are and then still do the stuff you want to do anyway. It makes the whole path a lot smoother. I used to meet it with a lot of resistance where I was like, no, fuck those people. You know, they're just bottom feeders and they just follow each other and they're sheep and all the rest of it. And it would make me angry. And now I'm just like, we need those people in our lives. And also most of these people are my friends and my family. So why am I so angry about them? So I would say I would attribute most of my success to the tenacity and also being able to not manifest, but being able to nurture humility inside of that because I met a lot of my goals and monetary goals with a lot of ego because that was the way that I thought I had to do it. And it was wrong. I didn't need any of that. It helped me because I was like angry at the world and I wanted to prove a point. I wanted to prove my dad wrong. And I wanted to show my mum I was a big, strong man. And I wanted to show my friends I was the alpha and all that sort of stuff. And that got me to a certain point,
Yeah.
but it's not going to get me to the next level. And I've realized that.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has been uncomfortable in the last few months, but they've been the harshest lessons. So a combination of humility and just a never say die attitude. And a never say die can look like you hear that it can look so many different ways because never say die is literally just you can tumble and you can fall and you can fail so many times and you can be down and crying and fucking feel like a piece of shit. But as long as you go, all right, I've had my little sookie time now, it's time to get back and go back to work. And you continue to keep moving forward, that's what matters. And it's like, it's every single movie, it's the Rocky quote, it's all that stuff. But that's what I would attribute the most to it. And it's just being durable, man. It's just being durable. It's like learning how to, it's learning, it really is learning how to endure the hardest of stuff in your way and continue to keep pressing forward. That's what I would attribute the most to it. It's got nothing to do with intelligence. It's got nothing to do with, I don't even consider myself the smartest person, honestly. I'm pretty slow in a lot of ways, actually. I'm smart in some ways, but in other ways, I'm just like, compared to some people, I'm like a fucking broomstick. I'm like not that smart, but like I am now considered to be intelligent just because I've done well for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know where this is even coming from. And that's what I notice in a lot of successful people.
I mean, Tom says the same thing. He goes, I'm no special compared to anyone. I'm just very advanced in one specific niche, and that's what's driven him to success. But people associate that with intelligence.
They do. They associate success with intelligence, and it's just there is no scientific correlation. There is none. Most of the people that you see, they just have, like, people who do what we do have something else in their brain and in their DNA that tell them that the other way of living is just not going to work for them. So they don't have a choice. And that's kind of where it's not intelligence then. It's just durability. It's just like you've got a different gear to others, and that's really what it is. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
I'll make a quick comment here as well. I'm not sure what your plan is with your YouTube videos, but I will say you articulate a question like that, a very, I guess you could say, philosophical question. You articulate it very well. So I'm
Thanks,
not sure if it's something you want to incorporate, but it's something that I think people would be interested to listen to for long form YouTube.
Oh shit. Well, I mean, I could I wish I didn't look like a slapped UFC fighter right now.
At all. Something to
But
consider if you want to. You do, as I said, you articulate and you can word it very well what you're trying to say, and in a clear, concise way as well. So, well, I'm not going to like people like Chris Williamson, Jordan Peterson, I would say I can see resemblance between them and you in the way you
Oh, well,
articulate words
Jesus.
very well. I know
Well,
that's
what a
probably a good
compliment.
compliment. I know.
Unbelievable. Fucking tag him
But
in, mate, to make sure the world knows.
but like my point stands is you articulate what you're trying to say very well. And it's something to consider for YouTube.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that a lot. That is honestly very helpful because it's you know, sometimes you forget stuff to help other people, and that's the
Mm.
whole reason I'm doing this. Like I
Mhm.
don't need to do it, but
Yeah.
I want to, and it is helpful because like even I'm second guessing myself hard with everything. So, but I'm
Yeah.
just doing it anyway, and
Yeah.
that's another really good point about success or how to work for yourself or how to break away from the system or whatever you want to call it. A really good way of looking at it is like I'm in the next phase of a transition. I would call it a transition or a pivot or whatever you want to call it, but I'm in that next phase where I'm second guessing so much of what I'm doing next. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to work,
Yeah.
and no one does. Only I have control of that yardstick, that measure. But I'm going into it like I'm going to try some new stuff now, and it's scary because I'm like, oh, do I have the ability to just start a second business and build it to 1 million a year? Am I good enough? Like, can I do it again? Can I do it for a second time? Like I
So
think
you could
about,
arguably say it's partly imposter syndrome, but you do it anyway to push further.
well, it's probably not imposter syndrome this time around. It's more just self-doubt.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
more about the fact that I don't know if I can build another business to what I've done with my agency, but I know I'm going to give it a go. Do you know what? It's actually not that I don't know. It's that it's uncomfortable. I know that I can. I have the deep-seated belief that I can build whatever I wanted to build. I could build to 1 million a year if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's the second guessing is this right for me or not? Am I going to build something that I like? And like there's just a lot of self-doubt that surrounds that. So that's another good example is like I'm going to meet inevitable challenges. I'm going to meet inevitable problems. Things are going to pop up for me where I know that I'm going to get to a point where I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. And I'm going to have to learn it. And like, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of not knowing stuff anymore. I used to be like, if I didn't know something, I pretend I did. And that wouldn't serve me because then I couldn't get better. But
Yeah.
now I'm like, I know what I don't know well, and I know what I do know well. And I'd much prefer to put the energy into the things I don't understand than the things that I do. Because the things that I don't understand are the things that are going to get me from where I am here to the next level where I intend to be.
Mhm.
And so that's what I mean about humility as well. That
Yeah.
sort of ties into it.
Yeah.